Good morning, everyone. We are preparing a kind of dance, but we don't have enough time. But you can see that it's the better sun of the morning, so that's the reason why we leave some minutes to hear about We Are Family. That is the song that we will use for this panel. Regarding networks, regarding community, and I have to say that I'm lucky because we have three experts from different areas, from different scenarios regarding this topic of the networks and communities. Emma House, friend, very good friend, a member of the READMAGINE community from last year, and also with an amazing profile regarding the publishing industry during a lot of years. But Emma is here especially regarding an amazing project, an amazing initiative that was born 5 years ago, that is Publishers Without Borders, and then we will explain. Federico Lan, also very good friend, bookseller, based in Malaga, in the south of Spain. And from my particular point of view, nowadays is the face of the Spanish bookseller industry around the world. And he will explain also a really beautiful project with international scope, with global scope, that is Global Book Crawl. And Angel Saenz, thank you very much, Angel, also for being here. We are lucky also because Angel is the CEO of LinkedIn, that is, well, not new presentation, the social media network and platform globally, but Angel is the CEO for Spain and Portugal. I have to say, and I say to Angel, that in my particular case, without LinkedIn, it's not possible to create this network of people. So thank you, LinkedIn, for give us this kind of tools. So let us start with Emma, talking about these Publishers Without Borders that I like very much. Thank you, Emma, and if you can explain something, ideas about Publishers Without Borders. So first, I think you have some.
I just have a single slide. It's just one slide, just for background. So Publishers Without Borders is a community that was born 5 years ago at the start of the COVID pandemic, where many publishers, as we know, we're enjoying being here in Madrid together. Publishing's a people industry, and we're very accustomed to meeting in different gatherings around the world. And of course, with the pandemic, that all came to an end. And people were very nervous. They felt very isolated. They didn't know what the future was going to look like for the publishing industry. They didn't know what the future was like in different countries, in different markets, and whether we would ever be able to sit in the same room together and talk about books and do business together. And so a group of us from different countries, from different continents, came together and said, how about we set up something on Facebook that just allows people to join and feel like they're no longer alone in this scary period that we're going through. And we can invite people to share their experiences, share their fears, share their loneliness, and at least feel some kind of connection. And so it really started off as an online Facebook group. We carried out a number of different sessions, so talking about book markets from around the world, where we could hear what was going on in Spain, we could hear what was going on in Iceland, and we could learn about those book markets at the same time, and also build our own networks in the virtual space in a way that we were no longer able to do in a physical space. And we also tried to make it fun. So we would have evenings where we would have a DJ playing music, and everybody was in their own homes enjoying the music and doing something that was a bit more lighthearted and again, a different way to connect. So we grew over the last 5 years on Facebook, which still remains our main channel, to about 5,500 members all over the world. Some are much more active than others in posting in the group. Others are observers, which is perfectly fine. But it's an opportunity to ask questions if you're stuck with something that's going on, or you have a book fair we want to promote, or a gathering we want to promote, or just an interesting article that we think others should read as well. So the Facebook community really came to life and is our lifeblood. But we then got back to meeting in person, and we thought, well, maybe people don't need Publishers Without Borders anymore. That the purpose, the raison d'etre for it being there no longer existed. And so it was quite the opposite, in fact. It was something quite different. People enjoyed the fact that you could be alone somewhere but still feel very connected. If you were traveling to a book fair for the first time, you're traveling by yourself, you would always know you've got your Publishers Without Borders community there waiting for you. And a lot of our interaction then transferred to WhatsApp, where we now have 32 groups on WhatsApp. We have 2,000 members on our WhatsApp channel, and those 32 groups represent the different book fairs and conferences that take place around the world. So we open them just before the fair, allow people to connect, talk about meetups, talk about what's going on, post photographs, post videos of that fair, keep people informed who are not there, but also create that opportunity to connect with each other and make sure you feel that you're not alone. So our WhatsApp community really has, again, become really lively. And I'll just touch on our Instagram channel, which again is really for sharing photos. So I was able to put up a post about READMAGINE, what we were hearing, and allow people to see the beautiful venue and feel like they were here. And LinkedIn is our final channel, and we'll come to a discussion about this later. But we wanted to create a LinkedIn group so that people could talk business. We very much see LinkedIn as the professional space where we're not going to talk about the parties that are happening at different book fairs, but it's a space where people could post their rights catalogues. They could talk about different business opportunities that they wanted to promote. But what we found is PWB isn't a place to do business. At first, people wanted to do business. When we offered them the opportunity to do that, it turned out they didn't want to do business in that way. So it's an interesting community. If you're not a member, please join in whichever channel you feel most comfortable in, and depending on what you want to get out of it, it's open for everyone to join.
Great. Only to add that 2 days ago was created in this WhatsApp channel of 2,000 members nowadays, for the first time was created the Liber Book Fair WhatsApp channel for Publishers Without Borders.
Exactly.
So now we can arrive to 2,000 professionals in the publishing industry from around the world in order to share information, ideas, tips of how to arrive to Madrid for the next. I mean, it's amazing. For me, it's very useful for all the fairs at international level. Let's continue with Fede. With the Global Book Crawl initiative, that is also a kind of network in that sense, using also technology, and you will explain, but it's a new brand, so Fede.
Yes, of course, thank you. I have a confession to make. Well, it's not a confession, it's more like I have to admit something.
Sorry, I think that you have some slides also?
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
yes. But let's leave that for later. Imagine a city, any given day. A normal day, except that on that day, people, in some cases dozens, in others hundreds of people, set out to visit bookstores, as if they were bars or fashionable restaurants or sightseeing attractions. In this case, bookstores. People with their reader's passport, a map, and the excitement to walk through the city and discover not only books, but also physical spaces and real people, booksellers and other readers as well. That's a book crawl, an invitation to walk around the city, reading and celebrating the diversity of the bookselling environment. Well, this is not just a product of your imagination, this is a true story, and it happened in April. This photo was taken in Kuala Lumpur. It was the first meeting that booksellers in Malaysia had to organize their local book crawl. When I saw this picture, this photo, I asked Adrian Ang, the coordinator of the meeting, if these get-togethers, these gatherings were common, were frequent. And he said that he hadn't even spoken to some of the people in the room prior to the meeting. Most of them didn't know each other before that day. So for them, for these independent booksellers in Malaysia, the global book crawl was a pretext to finally sit around a table and talk. And this relates a lot with what Sandra and Mauro were talking about before with Porter, about why, when we question that paradigm that competitors cannot see each other and put aside their differences and focus on their common challenges and their common resources, opportunities arise. And when I think that this was something that we started in Malaga here in Spain and had this tremendous echo across the world, I mean, in the other part of the planet, how cool is that?
Very cool.
And this is not just a beautiful story. It's a significant story because it replicates in small scale what happened in many places around the world. In almost 20 countries, in more than 80 cities, booksellers gathered and talked on a regular basis to handle aspects that normally they have to deal with on their own. Staffing, budgets, resources, media appearances, social media coordination, and they sat together and worked for a common goal, something that didn't belong to any of them, therefore it belonged to all of them. This is only the beginning. For us, it was clear from the very beginning that the Global Book Crawl was not going to be just one annual event, that it was born to become a network of booksellers which can use the global spotlight, the attraction that creates a global event, to tighten the bonds with their local community, to provide them with an experience that makes their customers feel special. I strongly believe that in the bookselling community, we need a shift in the narrative. We need to stop repeating how special we are, how needed we are, and start making our customers and making sure that our customers feel special and feel important. That's when they're going to come back to us. This collaboration, I was so glad today to listen to Mauro and Sandra speaking about collaboration, because connections is not a luxury. If you look at any living organism, if you look into any system, organization, connections are the underlaying, the invisible architecture that makes everything work. I'm sure that Angel, from his experience in LinkedIn, can tell us more about the value of those connections, as well as Emma with Publishers Without Borders, which I have to say, I said before, I'm so glad to follow you in these presentations, because Publishers Without Borders, to some extent, is to us, is a mirror in which we like to look at ourselves, and of course, our clearest reference. If a clear idea, as you expressed it, a clear and open idea can create connections among places and people who never touched before, then I think that's a pretty good goal, and it's become a personal goal. And I think that's it.
No, it's great. I mean, these two initiatives, Publishers Without Borders and Global Book Grow, are growing from the, let me say, civil society of the sector. It's not for the formal organizations, for the formal associations. That comes from the beginning, from small groups of people, a small group of professionals and friends that organize this kind of a structure that grown for the floor to and what's amazing. I mean, I think it's one of the ideas that we have to consider as a sector as a whole. But it's not possible without the right partners as LinkedIn, because at the end, the options to create this kind of communities, these kind of networks, depend on what is nowadays the situation of the technology. And platforms and communities as LinkedIn can help us with this mix between technology and also, especially Angel, regarding this link with the cultural industry, publishing industry. Can you tell us something about LinkedIn and what's...
Yes, so first, thanks for having me here. First, I need to tell you is that the first time that READMAGINE approached me for this roundtable, I was a little bit skeptical, like, I mean, I'm not a publisher, while I want to say is LinkedIn, why we do have publications. I'm not an educational institution, while we work with education. So I was not sure, but when we landed it into community and community building, then it made it more natural. And the second thing is my full respect, as I said in the preparation, to both Emma, Fede, and what they have done, because it's not easy. First of all, it's not easy to build a community. It's not easy to build a community with the right vibrancy, frequency, purpose, even not being business, as you said, but probably there's a lot of value that they're getting for belonging for that community. And I'm sure that ultimately business will be at the back of that. So yeah, we are a massive professional social network, or social professional network, as you wish, 1.2 billion worldwide, with the ambition to connect professionals. And I love, and it's a very good segue what you said. I mean, connections are not a luxury, should not be. I mean, and I love it. Now, I've never heard that phrase that way. And that's what we want to do, to build the infrastructure, the ecosystem, to foster connections. Ultimately, you need to build them. You need to work with them. You need to feed them. It's a very important piece of this, feeding. And yeah, we're happy to do so. We have been seeing along the 22 years of tenure that the company has, we have seen industries really moving up and stepping up and being present and having a lot of echo, a lot of members, a lot of conversations, opportunities. We are an opportunities network, and I will repeat that more than once today. And our ultimate goal in the last years is trying to make that as well more democratic, in the sense of it's not only about technology, consulting, finance, it's about every business, every industry that can have a place in our platform. that way. I mean, it's also a reason why we want to embrace different conversations, smaller communities, to participate and to find a good place for them to be, for them to find their community, their networks, their connections, their business opportunities as well, their knowledge as well, and their learning as well. So on that end, yeah, we feel like part of this industry somehow, and probably we'll cover later, but we're also understanding and envisioning the future, also looking at that, on how to serve those communities to continue finding the right opportunities at LinkedIn.
Great. So let's talk about the future, about the next steps, and talking about Publishers Without Borders. That, from my perspective, one of the interesting points regarding this informal group was from the beginning has this scope of globally community, because it was created for 5 friends that comes from Egypt, from India, from Italy, from Canada, and from the UK. So it's very international from the beginning, and that's also a representation in the number of members. It's not a Western group. Indeed, there are a lot of people that is part of the group that comes from India, from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from Africa, from the different countries, from Latin American countries, of course, from Europe and the US. And with this creation, tell us, Emma, about this global idea from the beginning, and also growing from the civil society, as I say. Publishers Without Borders starts a collaboration with the formal institutions, for instance, with IPA and the next Congress. Can you tell us something about this?
Yeah, I mean, the future, we talk about the future all the time as our admin group of 5. And we always have so many ideas about what the future can look like. So I think one of our next exciting developments is we will have a website, which came out of a conversation between me and Sarah here. So SuperDo will power our new website, which is exciting. But yes, we will also collaborate with the International Publishers Association on the IPA Congress next year. So the IPA Congress has had a very quite rigid format over the last however many years it's been in place, and the Malaysians wanted to shake it up a little bit. It will take place in Kuala Lumpur in July, and they were quite keen to make it a very people-focused conference, and again have it from the grassroots up. What do publishers need? What do they want to hear? What do they want to do in a conference? Whereas IPA Congress in the past has been quite focused on the publisher associations and the publishers that are engaged with those associations. But the Malaysians want to broaden that and broaden the appeal to that. So we're advising them a little bit on the programming. We'll help them with the promotion. We hope to welcome lots of publishers to Kuala Lumpur next year for the Congress as well. So that's something that they approached us and saw that we might have a bit of expertise, that we could lend advice for them to take forward or not as they see fit. But other things that we've experimented with is having collective stands at book fairs. So we had our first collective stand at the Shanghai Children's Book Fair last year, which was very successful. But our success hasn't repeated itself. So we've tried eliciting people's interest to have a PWB collective in other book fairs, but it hasn't worked. It hasn't taken off. Maybe one day there'll be another book fair where it will take off, but I think we're gradually finding our way to work out what does our community want, and we'll only do what they want. We won't force something if it's not wanted, it's not needed. But yes, certainly collaborations is one of our strengths, I think. We've experimented with mentorships, we've experimented with training programs, we've experimented with online discussions. And I think one thing that has been popular, and hopefully you will be our next guest, Jose Manuel, is to have the book fair directors come on and have a conversation online to talk about what to expect from the next upcoming book fair. And LIBA is probably one of the next big book fairs, and so I think we'd love to have you on and be a guest to talk about what to expect from LIBA.
Thank you very much. For me, as Emma mentioned, was very useful this kind of webinar or presentation regarding what will happen in the next book fair. And recently was Guadalajara Book Fair, with all the programs for the publishing professionals. So the director of some of the staff of the book fair present to the community that is almost 6,000 in total of members. So if you have a very important audience from around the world regarding a specific book fair, you also do it with Bologna Book Fair, with the Frankfurt Book Fair.
Frankfurt we do every year, but we want to dig into some of the book fairs that people don't know so much about, that maybe LIBA hasn't reached out necessarily to Indonesia and
I accept
India.
the invitation.
So yes, we want to provide a service. I think book fairs, fellowships are where our audience are very interested. And so we want to provide that service to give book fairs the opportunity to talk to our audiences.
Great. So let's continue. I have a question now with Federico regarding the future, but not only the future of the global book crawl as a network that you can tell us about the next steps to take, but also because it's one of the topics that during the last 12 years of history of READMAGINE have also in the agenda. Innovation not means only digital, but innovation means what's the role of a company as a sector, and the booksellers and the bookshops can make also innovation regarding the role of the brick-and-mortar bookshops in this amazing scenario of you can order any kind of book and arrive directly to your home, for sure digital, but also print. So all these kind of initiatives, also these very beautiful initiatives in Italy, Svuota la vetrina, that we have also talked. So can you give us some feedback about this?
About the future. To talk about the future, allow me to go back to the past, a year ago, at the Sharjah Booksellers Conference. You were there. We were kindly invited by the organizers.
We meet each other there. So.
Yes. And if you remember, at the Sharjah Booksellers, where I went, I was invited to present this idea of an international platform for independent booksellers. My presentation was very vague. Do you remember that? If someone had asked me, well, what's the content of that platform, or what kind of activities are you going to propose or organize, I wouldn't have been able to respond. I didn't know. And I think it relates to something that previously Dr. Rudiger said. I don't know if he's still around. Oh, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I took from your beautiful presentation, one of the ideas that I took is that not having a clear or final definition of what is a book shouldn't prevent us from discussing about books, having the conversation, right? Okay, so fortunately, we didn't allow this lack of final definition of what is this network to prevent us from starting the conversation. And it was there at the Sharjah Booksellers Conference that I met Jessica Stockton-Bagnuolo from Greenlight Bookstores in Brooklyn. And that's when the idea of the global book crawl crystallized. Because she introduced me to the idea, and I thought it was perfect for us. So that's the first thing. The future is what we're opening is a space for conversation. We have to gather a lot of information and make that information accessible to everyone, and start finding out who's doing what. We're going to have 2 global events throughout the year, one in the spring and the other one in fall, different in nature to balance, one more dynamic, the other one more paused, more related to reading, actually, more than just walking around. But then throughout the year, what we want is to change, to some extent, the way booksellers work, independent booksellers work, offering them the possibility for being independent not to mean being alone, thanks to the connections and the shared information, the possibility of creating joint projects to share resources, to maximize the value of those resources when they're shared. The second part of your question about innovation, I think it was last year here at READMAGINE that there was a roundtable on innovation. I think Arantxa was there, and one of the ideas that they said, and it stuck with me, was that innovation had to be linked to a value. If it doesn't bring value, then why innovate? Well, that applies to everything, actually. I mean, if there's no value, that thing will stop to, will not exist anymore. And about booksellers and independent booksellers, I definitely think that we bring value. And again, I'm going to refer to something that Dr. Rüdiger said before, that we should think about how to preserve the diversity of the book ecosystem. Any ecosystem is sustainable and can sustain the changes if it's diverse. Because when the system is diverse, there will always be solutions for the disruptions. And this is a disrupted ecosystem, and the book industry disruption has become the norm, it seems, sometimes, right? So, yes, we need to preserve diversity, and no one can preserve diversity better than independent booksellers and publishers, because we bring the human aspect to it. Even if we don't want to, we preserve diversity because we bring our personal experiences, our biases, our preferences to the business. And that sometimes saves us from the algorithms and the marketing trends to continue being human.
Great. That's a great idea, but link it with innovation. And I think that talking about also next steps, I'm sure that, Angel, you can give us some feedback about the future of LinkedIn, how can help us as communities, as groups, etc., using the amazing portfolio of changes and tools that we have nowadays, for sure, talking about big data, artificial intelligence, etc. So can you give us some future ideas on that from the LinkedIn perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely share some ideas. So I think that we would all agree that that the challenge that humanity has in front of us today is how to perfectly, or as perfectly as possible, combine all the tech innovation with humanism and preserving what we want to do as humans. And that's not easy. I mean, it's easy to say, but first of all, there's very different points of views here and very different options. What we are understanding is that the current massive and I would say exhausting ambient in terms of information, content, knowledge, misinformation as well, is difficult to navigate for humans. So I first and foremost see technology as a way to drive that. And what we want to do is to provide our members with the technology that will help them understand, navigate, pick and select what's the right content, what's the right publishers, what's the right sources and fonts that can provide them value. Our vision is to continue to have our vision, which is already 22 years ago was set by our founders of providing economic opportunity to all the members of the professional network. That's the vision. The point now is that, yeah, I mean, that content is multiplying too much. It's very difficult to really understand where to find the value. It's not easy now in any platform to really being able to find and select, I don't know, which is the best content creator about ecological agriculture in Malaysia. I mean, I can't find it myself. Search engines are not good enough. We need then to try and to see how we can include and leverage all this technology wave that we're seeing regarding AI. So our goal, again, is to find the way to help our members be more productive in our network. And for that, we will certainly provide technology tools. We will turn around, flip a little bit how it works. Till now, we've been working with AI since many years ago. We have more than, I don't know, 600-700 different algorithms in the platform. But now we want to give the power to the member. The member will have the ability with those called agents. You have probably heard about agents, AI agents, right? With that, to really build the ecosystem of information, network, and content that they want to consume, and the ability to find the right information at the right time and for the right purpose. So that's how we envision that. We really believe it's very aligned with what we want to do as humanity, to preserve. We want to help preserving the human experiences, the networking, the smaller groups, also the value there, by providing access to a wider and more specialized, with the right topicality, with the right depth. Ultimately, and we have also said that it's on our side individually to decide where we put our time, or from that time what we want to do with, to whom we want to connect, with which kind of frequency, detail, and depth. So never forget that we are individuals, that we are human beings, but I think that there's a fair chance to even do things better in terms also of community understanding and community working with technology. So my only hint to talk about is to be curious enough. Curiosity is a word that popped up in the previous roundtable, and I think it's crucial here and crucial in this ecosystem. Be curious enough to understand what can be done, and let's be open-minded as well to let's say to leverage those opportunities.
Great, and more than interesting, link it with some ideas of Fede, this kind of balance between technology and the present. I mean, it's a meeting as READMAGINE. We create that makes sense to join people from around the world, and people that comes from almost every year from Colombia, from Emirates, or from Sweden, or from Germany. But it's great. I mean, it's creative also. For sure, we use the technology for a lot of things, and we maintain the connections. But have this kind of happening every year is creative. It makes sense. And I think that you share the same philosophy. My last question, because we don't have too much time, is, okay, I'm talking about Publishers Without Borders and Global Book Crawl are creating from two different perspectives, from the publishing industry, from the booksellers industry. Are you thinking in cross lines between the two? Because at the end, I always say that we work as islands in this sector, but not as archipelagos. So you are thinking about the future, this kind of cross lines, or what do you think?
Well, we're at different moments. We're just starting now. Publishers Without Borders is more established, but I think that we're bound to, at some point,
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connect and start collaborating, of course.
I mean, we have one common link at the moment, which is the Sharjah Booksellers Conference, where we have a channel for that on our WhatsApp group for the booksellers and the publishers that are coming to that. So that's a start, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
A great place to start.
Yeah.
Emma is the curator of this event, the Sharjah Booksellers Conference, also the Sharjah Publishers Conference. And I have to say that it's amazing because it's the real global event of the booksellers, because you find booksellers from Kenya or from Malaysia or from India, from Nepal. From Mexico or from Colombia. So for sure, the book fairs are more nationals or from areas, but this is a global event, so congratulations in that sense.
Yeah, no, we're lucky that Sharjah sits at the heart of so many different countries, and that they provide this platform for these communities to come together. So yeah, it's a pleasure to work for them.
Okay. We don't have too much time, 2 minutes, but I don't know if somebody from the audience wants to make some question. Is the moment with these amazing experts from the bookseller side of the business, publishers, and also from the social media.